this whole movie, like I said at the beginning, the greatest DCEU movie that I think they've ever made, because it was the first time that, one, the removal of Jeff Johns, an absolute golden, I guess they kind of repositioned him, not fired him, but fired him as an executive producer. He was a terrible meddler in most of these DCEU movies. It was the first time that we got a fully fledged out, not good by comparison, but legitimately just an actual complete story of what the Suicide Squad was supposed to be, and actually be able to take it from that. And third, they actually made it into a villain that makes sense. Like the stupid Enchantress didn't make sense for the Suicide Squad last time.
Yeah.
Right? But a random version of Corto Maltese, who has always been like this enemy group in the DC comics, like to make it just this small one, and then to make Starro be the villain, but not really the sympathetic villain in a sense. But it was perfect. That is Suicide Squad-esque. You are ground level.
Yes.
You are supposed to just be able to take on these guys that you should be slightly better than, but your psychopathism will make it always a scene. But that and the absolute brutality that was the movie. Like, this is what, like, I credit Deadpool for allowing this to be able to happen, because DC would not be, what's the word? They're too cowardly to have done it on their own. Like,
not Blade?
That's not, no, because that's too far back. And again, Blade didn't come under the guise as a Marvel movie. It was a movie that you found out ended up being Marvel if you didn't know it beforehand.
I didn't know it.
Exactly. But Deadpool is the one that they actually were like, oh, we can do this, because Deadpool came slightly after Suicide Squad 1. So whatever they saw that's whenever it's like, oh, we're gonna release, we can actually let ourselves go on it. So that's why I'm like, oh, they really let it happen. And the jokes made sense. Like, they didn't feel out of place. It didn't feel like they reinserted it in to make it less dark. And it also didn't do the thing that Jason always says DC does and hates. You made a dark movie for the sake of it being a dark movie, as opposed to you made a light you made a movie with dark parts, but it wasn't the theme of it. It just was a supplement of what the movie ended up being.
Yeah.
Mm.
No,
and
I mean,
also, last part, not making Harley Quinn the centerpiece of this. That was the best part of it for me, because it made Harley Quinn much more likable to me, because I don't like Harley Quinn being a centerpiece of DC movies. I don't care what anybody says. Birds of Prey is a boring ass movie, but like, they made Harley Quinn significant without having to just be like, it's the Harley Quinn show and you guys are just part of the world. And they made her legitimately psychotic, not anti-hero, psychotic. Like, when she killed the president after like that was beautiful. You're crazy. She's legitimately crazy. And that's what it was. She wasn't just a super athletic superhuman. She was crazy.
With the Cinderella flowers and the birds.
Exactly.
That was funny.
That whole shooting of that guy, I was laughing my ass off. The whole speech that she gave afterwards.
Yeah.
It didn't come down to her wanting to save all those people who could have died. It was more like the most strangest, reverse version of the it's not you, it's me.
Right. Fantastic.
If you want to go kill people, that's so fine, but I just can't deal with this at this point in my life. Like, I've just had too many broken relationships like this in the past. So it wasn't, you know what I mean? She didn't go, how could you go kill all those women and children?
No, like, that's anti-hero. We went pro-villain.
What they did take well, someone pointed out, what they did take well from the Birds of Prey is the fantasies in her head that she had in Birds of Prey.
Right.
They bring it on just the right amount in this one with what you were saying before, JP, all the Cinderella stuff. She's murdering and butchering people, just doing their jobs, right? A lot of people just died who were just doing their jobs, turning up for the paycheck. In her own mind, it's fun and light and interesting, and yet there's corpses, building up all around her. And And then the way she's just, when she sees Flag there and she's still in that really, like, I'm a 12-year-old girl. Oh,
Right.
come back and save me. I can go back in. I'll kill more people. And like, no base of reality.
That's the psychopath Harley Quinn that I want. I don't want the benevolent, I don't want the anti-hero. She's not an anti-hero. She's a legitimate villain. She will catch you off guard at any point in time. But she's just charming as hell and just has that right amount of sociopath that makes you be like, sucks you in, and then you get revealed. And that's what I like to see. So everything felt authentic. And then, of course, King Shark was amazing. Sylvester Stallone played it well. Like, it's, again, Sylvester Stallone playing the Groot character for the DCEU. It's just, it was like JP said, this was just a giant FU to Disney. And I obviously, clearly, you guys know I truly love the MCU, but this is what I expect from DC. Like, whenever you're being a rival, I expect you to find your way while also flipping off the bird at the competition. And especially since you get to punch down, you get to punch up in this situation, utilize it. You don't have to be exact, but utilize it. You don't have to be the boys, but you don't have to be goody two-shoes. You get to be whatever you want to be because you own everything.
And so how does it rate? How does this rate with the other DCU movies?
Oh, come on, man. It's not even close. Like, remember, the last DCEU movie I tried to give it credit for was Aquaman. And I was like, well, you guys finally used color. There was at least a little, the character, like the character was at least intriguing, and you had a good villain. You guys were inconsistent with your tone and couldn't figure out where you guys wanted to be at, whether you want to be on land, whether you want to be under the sea, whether you want to be in Greece. Is this a love story? Is this an adventure story? You don't know what you're doing, but at least it feels like you're trying to get a consistency somewhere. I didn't have to say anything on that. Even Wonder Woman 1, I at least was able to be like, well, it's a lighter tone. You're not being stuck into darkness. There's a little bit of a sympathy that we have for it. It's not a perfect movie, but you guys are trying. This one, I can trash all that concept, and I can be like, no, this was just good because it was good. It was a consistent story. I understood exactly the reason why everybody did it. I get to understand who everybody was. I got to understand the backstory of people without having to feel like Polka Dot Man's story was well done. That was so well done. You can't ask for so much more.
I love the mothers. Every time the mothers came on, awesome. I was in tears. That was so funny.
That was awesome. Even the factor of Peacemaker and knowing that they're making it. I didn't even realize they were making a Peacemaker show. So to So to know that there's a Peacemaker show, that I'm actually a little bit interested to see what's going to end up happening with it. Even Amanda Waller, they gave her the ferocious. I actually felt more terrified from this Amanda Waller than I did from the one from Suicide Squad 1. Yeah. And especially because of the factor that she didn't slaughter all her people. That makes me more scared for them than it did in the first one whenever she killed everybody in the room.
Do you think that was a little bit of a middle finger to the original? The fact that they deliberately had staff who went against the staff in the previous one, didn't do anything, and they got killed. These ones went against her. If that was Amanda Waller, she should have had them hung, drawn, and quartered. Exactly. This time, he's going out of his way to say, nah, she's not. But you're right in that this is a more realistic person.
Yes.
Therefore, you really believe that, what's going on underneath? Just bang, 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 bang.
No holds bar. And I think that's the thing that I like. It's just as easy as they're disposable, but they are disposable, but she can't dispose of everybody. So whenever you had the staff and everybody's intercommunicating with her, like, the wittiness of that also adds an element to how nefarious that she is. The fact that they're like, wait, you're not really going to do that to the kids. And she's like, oh.
You don't know what that's a great line. You don't know what I can do. It's more interesting not knowing.
Exactly.
It's like showing the baddie. You don't show your whole baddie at the start of the movie. You hold your horses.
Let's remind our friends to please click on the subscribe button and hit that notification bell so you know when we have new videos out.
Subscribe.
God or die. Or die.